What's up, Rock family? Welcome back to another Wednesday night here online. And we are so excited as we continue our Throwback series of hashtag relationship goals. Tonight, I know that Pastor Henny is about to tear the floor down with some spiritual truths that we can apply in our lives today. So get a notebook out, get some pen and paper out, because you are going to want to be listening deeply for the word that he has to share. But hey, if you're joining us on Wednesday night at 7 p.m., hop in the live chat, say what's up, say what's going on to all of us who are tuning in. Once again, we're just so excited you're with us, and we're so excited for the word that is about to be shared. I think I've talked enough. I'm ready, I'm excited, and I know that Pastor Henny has a word to share with us. So let's get ready, let's prepare our hearts, because here comes Pastor Henny.
If you're married, why don't you, and your husband or wife's with you, why don't you give your wife a kiss right now? Tell her, honey, happy National Lipstick Day. For those of you who don't know, today is National Lipstick Day. My wife doesn't have any lipstick on because I took it all off. So if my lips are looking real supply, it's because of that. So we're married, so we're allowed to do it. We're allowed to do more than that, but that's none of your business. You don't have to fear no more, worry no more. Okay, I'll get into the word. All righty. So we have been in this great series called Relationship Goals. And it's been a great journey. And I know that the Lord has been really doing a great job of healing our relationships and restoring our hearts towards one another. And I think that's very important. And this is not just a marriage thing. We're not just focused on marriage. We are trying to cover as many bases as we possibly can, because relationships in the day and age that we are living in can be so varied. There's so many factors within our relationship. And then last week we talked a little bit to you about single and satisfied. And I want to kind of do the second part of that today, and as we look at it, because and the reason we call it single and satisfied is because we want people to understand that being single doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. How many of you understand that? And as a matter of fact, there are more single people now than there are married people. And so there's a definite need to address some of these things, and not everybody that's single has to be married. Not everybody that's single wants to be married. So we know that and understand that singleness in itself, you can be whole as a single person. You never want to marry somebody just because you don't feel whole. How many of you understand that? Is that if you are not happy with who you are and you marry somebody, now you're going to have to make two people miserable, and we are having enough just dealing with you. So we understand that. And 1 Corinthians says a very great thing. In 1 Corinthians 16:14, our key verse, and you should all know this by now, very simply. How many of you can quote this verse to me? Boy, that was pathetic, to be honest with you. But let's try it again. 1 Corinthians 16:14 says, do everything in love. And so even in our dating relationship, we must do that according to the way God has for us. And then last week, we used this incredible few verses out of the book of Proverbs, and we talked about wisdom and understanding. Let me read it to you again. It says, use wisdom and understanding to establish your home. Let good sense, somebody say good sense, fill the rooms with priceless treasures. Wisdom brings strength, and knowledge gives power. Battles are won by listening to advice. Say listening to advice. And notice, and making a lot of plans. So obviously when we are building something, obviously when we want to pursue something, whether it be a life, a relationship, a career, a business, whatever it is, if we're going to build something, we must build it on a sure foundation. And the Bible encourages us that we find the wisdom that we need. And wisdom is having the information and the knowledge in order to do it. But there's something else that comes with it, and that's understanding. Understanding is not only knowing what to do, but it's knowing why you do what you do. So there's a reason why we operate the way we operate. There's a reason why we pursue certain things a certain way. There's a reason why there is something on the inside of us that says, life is not working out the way that I want it to work out. So therefore, I've got to change my approach. I've got to change what I'm doing. If you are running into a wall and running into a wall and running to a wall, how many of you know sooner or later you got to start looking for a door? Sooner or later, you're going to say, wait a minute, I mean, I've got 14 knots on my forehead because I'm always, making the same mistake. I got to wise up a little bit, slow down a little bit, and kind of look at how do I make a good decision? How do I make a wise choice? And then we talked about the fact that, if you're single, the greatest principle is in order for you to understand it, it's not looking for the right person, but it is being the right person. And there are three aspects of that, and we covered the first one. We talked about relational maturity. And the question we asked there is, am I relationally equipped for this marriage? I mean, do I know how to handle relationships? If I'm having a hard time handling relationships before I'm married, I'm going to have a hard time handling relationships after I'm married. How many of you know, once you say I do, there's no magic suddenly that you have? It's not, if you did something in a certain way, if you were, short and bald and fat and you got married, you don't change. That's the same way you're going to be the next day. And we recognize that, we realize that. So you have to have relational maturity, knowing how to deal with people, knowing how to handle people. And honestly, I think most of us need to be taught that. Because within the context that we've grown up in, within the experiences that we've had, within the backgrounds that we have, a lot of us haven't had a healthy concept of how to build healthy relationships. We live in a world that it's all about what? Me. Thank you for your honesty. I really appreciate that. First service were not honest at all. They had to repent. So I'm really glad you guys are mature enough to be able to say that. So, and it's all about me. It's all about what I can get. It's all about what I want and how I want it. But we understand that that's not God's perspective of healthy relationships. So let's talk about this today. Let's continue this. And I'm not going to keep you very long, just for about the next 4 hours. And we'll kind of work our way through this. But how do you know you're the right person? Number one, we said relational maturity. Number two, write it in, is emotional maturity. Emotional maturity. And the question that we ask there is, am I emotionally prepared for this marriage? Emotional maturity. Am I emotionally prepared for this marriage? Now, we're living in a very modern world, and we're living in a kind of a millennial generation. So I thought, just to kind of look at it, how would a marriage proposal be for a millennial? So this is I want you to pay attention to the screens. This is a millennial marriage proposal. Check it out.
Oh, it's so insane.
There's nothing better than this, right?
This is the greatest.
Unbelievable. Look at this.
I can't believe it.
Madison Marie, will you marry me?
Oh, babe. Wait, you hired a photographer, right?
Yeah, he's right. Yeah.
I am so sorry. Do you mind actually coming a little bit closer? I don't know if it's going to share that well, if it's so far back.
Madison Marie, will you marry me?
This is still from the back. Do you mind if we just switch spots so that the camera's...
Madison Marie, will you marry me?
Oh, my hair's up and I didn't realize. Do you mind if you scoot back so we get the skyline in the background?
Madison Marie?
Cut. Sorry, I don't like my middle name. Can I take a look at that? I just want to see if it's... I wanted this to be a surprise, but at least you could have given me a hint. I don't look good in any of these. Okay. I'm sweating right now, and this can't be good for my complexion.
What are you talking about?
The lighting is really harsh. I probably look like a Picasso painting.
It's...
Cloud-wise, what are you thinking? More? Yeah.
And see, when you turn around, is it already going to be open?
Yes.
Madison Marie.
I'm already wearing it.
Oh, wait, all right, take it.
Okay.
Give me the ring back, and then we'll start from the top.
Okay. I read a blog. The perfect time for engagements is 5 to 5:30.
I'm trying to do something fun for you, and you ruin it.
Ruin.
Every...
Oh my gosh,
Okay,
I
let's
don't
try
know
it.
if I can even do this anymore.
All right, here we go. Well, you're gonna be turned around
right.
anyway, so I'll just
You're
start
right.
on my knee.
Thank you. You got a double chin in this one. Switching things up, we're gonna have camera guy here, sound guy right here, John, continuity sake, right knee. I'm gonna go left hand. It's gonna be bigger, right? Can you Photoshop that? As soon as he opens the box, we're gonna have a sweeping zoom motion and then coming all the way up, revealing the beautiful skyline. I'm going to say yes, and it's gonna be great. All right, from top. So then I'm gonna either go here or here. What do you think?
How about...
Or we could go this way.
I feel like no one sees me though, because my face is pointed
That's fine.
out.
No one needs to see your face. Say it a little bit more like you believe in it.
Like, do it. How would I say it?
Marrying you would be #relationship goals.
Who says that?
You will! Rolling! I just want it to be like how they do it in the movies. I don't know. I'm just not feeling the production value in this.
Production? What do you want from this?
I don't know. First thing that comes to my mind, La La Land.
They didn't even get married.
Spoiler alert!
Cut. Madison's engagement. Take 43.
Great, hurry. First positions. Put that somewhere.
First positions?
Look at all these likes.
Very interesting, isn't it? I mean, the question really is, are you emotionally mature enough? And here's a cute statement from a boy whose name was Alan. His age was 10. He said, I don't know who I will marry, but I'll tell you one thing. She'll have to sign a paper that says she takes out the garbage and I get to watch whatever TV show I want. Now, that's funny because he's 10. It's not funny when he's 30. Are you with me, somebody? I know an awful lot of people that get and go into marriage and they are not emotionally ready for that marriage and what it's going to take. They're not emotionally prepared to do what needs to be done to make a marriage successful. They're not emotionally prepared to give it 100%. They're basically kind of drawing lines and saying, well, this is kind of 50-50. And if your marriage is 50-50, you are not emotionally prepared when you draw lines and you say, well, because here's the thing, you're always going to fight about what part of the 50 is your part and what part is the other person. So there's always going to be a conflict within this. Don't go into a marriage for what you are going to receive. Go into a marriage for what you are going to give. Marriage is about giving your life away for the benefit of someone else. It's about understanding what it is, and you should be emotionally prepared for that and emotionally have some sense of maturity if you're going to engage somebody's life for the rest of theirs and for the rest of yours. Now, there are 4 signs of emotional preparedness that I want to just give to you briefly today, and here's the first one. You can write it in. When you are emotionally prepared, there is no rush into marriage. There is no rush into marriage. You show me somebody who's emotionally prepared, and I'll show you somebody who can wait a few more months before they're married. The best advice that I can give you and give a couple that is contemplating marriage is when they're not sure whether they should get married or not, the best part is to wait, slow down, stall for some time. It's better to do it on the front end than on the back end. How many of you know you don't need to jump into marriage real quick? Can I get an amen, somebody? You can give it a little bit more time. Listen, if it's going to work, the signs of it going to work will show up. If it's not going to work, I'm telling you, the signs of it not going to work is going to show up. Look at what Proverbs says in Proverbs 9, verse 2 and 3. I love these verses. Some of my favorite verses, especially the second and third verse. Notice, enthusiasm without knowledge is what? Come on, yell it at me. Is what? So you can be enthusiastic. Oh, I'm all happy about this. I'm all pumped about this. But you don't have the knowledge. The Bible says that's what? No good. Notice the next 3 words. Haste makes mistakes. When you're in a hurry, I got to do this, and you feel the pressure of that, you're going to make mistakes. And verse 3 says this, people ruin their lives by their own foolishness and then are angry at the Lord. So we make haste, we kind of force things, and we kind of work through the process real quick, and then when we make a mistake, we say, well, it's God's fault. I mean, God did this to me, and He didn't. You did it. You were the stupid one. Are you with me, somebody? Look at Isaiah 26. I love this out of the Message Bible. Listen to this. The path of right living people is level. The leveler evens the road for the right living. We are in no hurry, God. We contend to linger in the path signposted with your decisions. So Isaiah is saying, you know what, I'm willing to wait. Why? Because God is not in a hurry, and if God is not in a hurry, I don't have to be in a hurry. And if you're going to make a marriage work, don't rush into it. Only fools rush in. Don't rush into a relationship. Make sure that it's going to work out. Now, why is it? Why do we feel the need to rush into a relationship? I really believe there are 3 things, and you can just dot them down real quick. It's because we base relationships on physical attraction. So, he's like, oh man, I'm so attracted to her. I'm so attracted to him. Let me say something in a very loving way. How many of you know attraction is not going to last? There are things that are going to not be in the same place they were when you meet somebody. Are you with me? I mean, this morning I woke up and I looked in the mirror and I went, ah! And I realized I was looking at myself. I mean, it's unbelievable how, I'm 28 years old and sometimes I just don't look it. And my wife is so loving, I said, honey, look at my face. She says, I've been looking at it, for many years. So she said it in a nice way, not in a bad way. But, we base it on physical attraction because we are physically attracted. That's great. But you cannot build a relationship just on physical attraction. Understand that. Secondly, we base it on emotional connection. just because we feel close and we feel that this is the way it's supposed to be. We'll talk about emotions here in a moment, but how many of you understand emotions come and emotions go? You can be happy about something now and 10 minutes later unhappy about the same thing. That's what emotions lie to us. They move all the time. And so you cannot base it just on an emotional connection. And here's another one. Why do we rush into relationships? Because we base it on the fear factor. Honestly, if we are truly honest, we're afraid we are going to be left out. We're afraid we are going to be an old maid, or we're going to grow old as an old man by ourselves. Let me tell you something. To be alone is much better than to be lonely and in bad company. I have talked to enough miserable married people that were in relationships that they were lonely, yet they were married. They were in relationship because there was really not that fact of connecting with one another. And that's something that's sad, that you can be in a relationship, but yet you feel lonely. I'd rather be by myself. I will not be lonely. I'm with Jesus. Is anybody with me? And if I'm with myself, I'm in good company anyway, so it all works out. You and I have to understand, sometimes what happens to us, we feel this need, I've got to do it, I'm getting old, I have to do this, and my friends are all getting married, and they're all moving through this place, and I need to, and sometimes the church puts pressure, just because somebody is single, you need to get married, and you know what, you need to get married if God has called you to be married. That's what you need to understand. And you have to know this, because otherwise we operate in fear. And when you operate in fear, you are going to eventually settle. And you settle instead of having God's best. There's no reason you have to settle. God will bring the person that He has meant for you in your life if you trust Him. If you walk just like Isaiah said, hey, I'm following the signpost of God. I'm doing it God's way. I'm not going to do it my way. God will bring that person. And just in our situation, even if He has to deliver him or her in your front door, God will do it. You got to trust Him. So don't rush into it. The second thing about being emotionally mature is that not only is there no rush into marriage, but selfishness is under control. Selfishness is under control. One of the greatest signs of emotional maturity is our willingness to prefer others before ourselves. We've covered this verse before, but I want to show you this again in Philippians 2, verses 3 to 5. It says this: when you do things, anybody been doing things lately? That's 5 of you. Let's try it again. Anybody been doing things? All right. Now watch this. When you say, when I do things, watch this. Do not let selfishness or pride be your guide. Instead, be humble and give more honor to others than to yourself. Do not be interested only in your own life, but be interested in the lives of others. In your lives, you must think and act like Christ Jesus. People who are emotionally mature are people that understand that selfishness has no place within a relationship. Now, we all go through selfish phases. I've been selfish, you've been selfish. We all have been selfish. And there are seasons in life where we are selfish, but somebody needs to be able to love us enough to tell us the truth and say, hey, listen, you cannot do that. You cannot have a healthy relationship when the only focus is on you, when you are the only one that people have to dance to, and you are the only one that plays the tune, and everybody has to dance to your tune. There comes a time, and especially when it comes to marriage, where we have to begin to put others before ourselves. Who is the most selfish people? Our little kids, right? Because they are still learning. Now, some of us are acting like little kids, but we are way older than that. I don't know if your kids were like mine, and when they were younger, much younger, they, when you give them a toy and they play, and then maybe their brother wants to play with it, and then, they're not playing with it, then they're like, no, I was playing with that. And then, we'll get a friend over, and then they're playing with that, and all that. Why? Because it's all about, no, that's mine. What's the first thing a child says? Mine. Oh, that's mine. No, that's mine. Everything revolves around them, and that's okay because they still have to learn. None of us, I've never had to teach my kids to be selfish. Any one of you had to do that to your kids? I never had to say, now listen, son, I want you to understand when your friend comes over, when he plays with a toy, grab it from his hand and say to him, it's my toy, my daddy bought it for me, I'm playing with it. You need to do it. Now repeat the words from daddy's mouth. Say, mine, my toy, it belongs to me. Had any of you had to do that? No. What did you have to do? Now listen. Listen now, Bobby. When your friends come over, you need to play with them, and you need to play, what do we say? Play nice. Now, what do we mean by saying play nice? We're saying don't be selfish. Don't be self-absorbed. The problem is some of you are 40 years old and you still don't play nice. Because it's all about you. Everything is about you, and you got to understand, if you're going to have healthy relationships, somewhere you got to get selfishness under control. You cannot have pride be your guide. You cannot have selfishness be the root of your motivation, that it's all about you, all about, you don't care about my needs, you don't care about what I want. Well, what about the other person that's with you in the relationship? It takes two. It takes two to make things go right. Right? It takes two. It takes two people that are willing, that are unselfish, instead of just always thinking about them, but they also think about the other person. When you are married, you can't, I don't wake up in the morning and look at Pastor Moran and say, wow, guess what, girl? I don't feel married today. See, be like, well, wait a minute, sucker. Can you look what's on your hand? It's called a ring. We made a covenant. I don't care how you feel, you are married. Amen, Pastor. That's really good. It applies to my wife. All right, then just nudge her. It's for her then. But we all go through phases like that, but we have got to become emotionally solid. An emotionally solid person is a person that's not always thinking about themselves. And they don't, and here's the thing, and sometimes we have to be very careful. We use circumstances and situations to manipulate another person to eventually do exactly what we want to do. And we have to watch that. That's actually kind of a sick kind of person. If you want to manipulate others in order for them to do what you want them to do, and you manipulate them to things, or you manipulate them through action or words, you've got to be careful for that. That is not an emotional stable individual. You've got to have selfishness under control. Now, let me ask the married people. Do I have any happily married people in the room? You should have said it louder. I mean, let's try again. Do I have any happily married people in the room? All right. Now, let me ask you, happily married people, has there been a time in your marriage where you had to be the least? You don't sound excited about it, but it's not exciting, but you had to be, right? Somewhere there's got to be give. And there's got to be unselfishness within a relationship in order for it to be healthy. Selfishness has got to be under control. Selfish people do not make great marriages.
Oh my goodness, I told you he had a word and he came out firing, but oh my gosh, I know I have some things that I need to be working on today, so I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna apply it to my life, making sure that I make my relationships exactly what God has called them to be. We are so thankful and honored that you joined us tonight. I hope that word meant just as much to you as it did to me. We just love you guys so much. Next Wednesday, we're not gonna be meeting on YouTube for relationship goals. We actually are gonna be live streaming for the start of the To Be or Not campaign. So join us on YouTube, join us in the live chat next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And we're excited for this campaign because we know God has something special in store for us. We love you guys so much. We'll see you next Wednesday, but before then, we'll see you on Sunday morning for service.